So we're going to start standing today. And just bringing your feet about hip width apart, arms down by your sides. Pull your belly in. Close your eyes. Let's just take a few breaths. So inhale the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let the chin point down just slightly, lengthening the back of your neck, pull the shoulders down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Breathe. Good. Let's bring the hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. And then just touching the thumbs to your tailbone, we're going to hug the elbows together. Good. Let the hips press forward. Getting a nice stretch. Good. And then coming back up, straighten into the elbows if you can. Even if the wrists have to move away from one another, just straightening into the wrist, pressing the knuckles down. Let the hips press forward. And then we're going to lift the wrists away a little bit. Nice stretch through the shoulder. Good. And release. Release the hands. Inhale, arms up. Nice. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we're going to set up our blocks at the front of our mat, like so. Just so they're available to you. And then we're going to inhale, arms up. Find a little back bend, press the hips forward, pull the arms back a little behind the ears. Good. Let's bend into the elbows, pull the elbows back. Nice. Stretching from the tailbone up through the crown of the head, reach up. Exhale, let's fold forward. So your hands could come to your shins. You're going to let the head hang down, let the upper body hang down, stretching into the low back. You can let yourself swing from side to side. Loosen up the spine a little bit. Loosen up the back a little bit. Good. Now let's come up halfway. That's what the blocks are for, so you can be halfway flat back. Good. So just flattening the back, pull the belly in. You can come up onto the fingertips to make that easier, or be flat on your hands. Just flatten the back. Good. And fold. Inhale, come up all the way. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, let's fold again. And now we're going to come up halfway onto those blocks. Flat back. Bend the knees just a little bit. And we're going to keep the knees, the legs just exactly the way they are. They're not going to move. And then we're going to round the spine. Round. And arch. and arch. Just cat-cow like on our hands and knees, just standing round and arch. Keep the legs just like they are, round and arch. Good, now we're gonna hold the arch and fold forward. So you get a little deeper into the backs of your legs. Work your legs a little straighter. So stretch into your hamstrings. Good, and then we're gonna inhale, come up all the way. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good, let's reach up. Fold one more time. Come up halfway, hands to the blocks. And then we're gonna take your right leg and stick it straight behind you. Good, step it back, lunge. So with that lunge, we're gonna pull those blocks back around that front foot. Turn your back heel down. Press your front knee forward. Good, so we're feeling the lunge. So your stance can be tighter with your knee forward, your foot forward, or you can lengthen it out. It's up to you. Do what feels good. Belly in, rolling that right hip down. Feel the stretch. Coming up, warrior one. Good, strong legs. So we're pressing both feet into the floor. Good, so we're gonna bring the hands behind you again. Interlace your fingers, press the knuckles down. Right, lift the wrists away. Straightening into the front leg. We're just gonna take a bow over that front leg. So we can come down about halfway. Make the gaze be straight down. Keep that right hip rolling down. Good, release the bind of the hands, bring the hands to the blocks. So we're just holding here. You're really trying to pull your left hip back, rotating your right hip down. Breathe. Inhaling. Exhale. Good. Now right here, just maybe see if you can go down a little bit further. You're trying to keep this front knee straight, but not locked, just straight. We're holding. Good. Straightening into the arms if you bent them. And then we're going to take your blocks with you. We're going to walk around to the outside of that front leg. So it might not go all the way. You might just go a little, or you might go all the way. Good. Notice if this knee starts to bend, try to keep it straighter. Good. Walking back to center. Nice. Let's bend that front knee. Come back to warrior one. Both blocks back up, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Looking over that front middle finger. Soft shoulders reach through the fingertips. Nice, let's bring the hands together. Hop the back foot forward. Breathe. Close the eyes. Even weight between the feet. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come up halfway, hands to the blocks. Good, so the hands are on the blocks. The knees can be slightly bent, but we're keeping the legs just like they are. They're not moving as we round the spine and arch the spine. Good, round and arch. Got a couple more round and arch. Nice, let's round it and arch. Good, we're going to keep the arch. Keep the knees bent, fold into the legs. Get a little deeper into those hamstrings. Inhale, come up all the way. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Come up halfway. Beyond the blocks, we're going to take that left leg this time, kick it straight behind you, step it back, lunge. Find your perfect lunge. I'm going to bring these blocks in so that they're ready for us. Bending that front knee, rotating the left hip down, sweeping up. Warrior one. Breathe. Nice. Bringing the hands behind you again. Interlacing the fingers, straightening into the front leg. We're working on keeping the hips square to either the front of the room or the floor. So we're rotating that left hip forward, fold. So the tendency is that left hip wants to come up. We want to bring it forward. Breathe. Nice. Release the bind. Bring your hands to the blocks. Good. Really working toward rotating that left hip down and pulling the right hip back. Nice. Maybe coming down a little bit toward that leg. Pressing the base of your big toe down. Nice, straightening into the arms. We're going to walk the hands over. So you don't have to go all the way. You can take it however, as far as you can. You're still trying to pull that right hip back. Still trying to rotate that left hip down. Now we're going to walk the hands back, set those blocks forward, bend the front knee, warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Breathe. Nice. Both hands come down to the mat. You're going to hop that back foot forward. Nice. Let's plant the hands now. Chin to chest. Step it back. Downward dog. So we're going to let the heels sink down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Good. And let's walk the hands back toward the feet. Let the head hang. And then let's walk the hands forward into plank. Hold the plank. 2 more breaths. One more breath. Good, let's walk it back. And we're gonna do that one more time. Walking forward. Gently holding your plank. You can always set your knees down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more breath. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Walking the hands back. Okay, so from here, we're going to let the toes come out, the heels in. Have your blanket handy maybe. And then we're going to squat it down. Good. If your heels don't touch, that's what the blanket is for. I'm going to do this a couple times. You stick anything under your heels to make this possible, or you can squat onto your block. So you're kind of sitting on it, but you want most of the weight into your feet. You're just kind of supporting yourself so you don't feel like you're falling backwards. You can also step your feet out a little wider to make it a little easier to get those heels down. And then we're pressing the elbows into the thighs and we're hugging the thighs into the elbows. Let's bring the hands down, press the hips up. The toes can go forward. And we're just getting a nice stretch to the back. And then we're going to bend the knees again. Coming down. Breathe. Good. One more time. Hips come up. Nice. Folding forward. Bend the knees. Squatting down. Right hand reaches out. Left hand reaches up. Good. Coming back to center. Left hand reaches out. Right hand reaches up. Nice. Back to center. Good. So we're going to come to seated. However you get there is perfect. Good. Bring your feet right in front of you. Sitting up tall. Slowly rolling down. Nice. Bottoms of your feet on the mat. So let's do one little back bend here. Our little bridge. We're going to walk the feet in as close to your hips as you can. Hands line up with your heels, belly in. Nice. Lift the hips. Good. Find your pelvic floor, pull it in. Find your quads engage. Find your glutes engage. Lift the hips a little bit higher. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower down. Let's hug the knees into the chest. Just rock a little bit. So we're going to straighten into the legs. Legs are going to be right next to each other. Your arms are going to reach over your head. So you're reaching. So let's just do a nice little stretch, fingertips to toe tips. Reach, reach, reach. And then relax. Okay, so we're going to take your upper body and leave the hips are nailed to the floor. And we're going to walk the upper body over to the right. just like so, just over to the right. Just see how that feels. You walk it as far as you comfortably can. You can go off your mat a little bit, that's okay. And keeping the hips nailed to the mat, you're gonna walk your feet over to the right. If you want a little more, you can try crossing your leg if that feels good for you. Doesn't feel good for me, but some people love that, so try it. Breathe. Breathe into the rib cage. You might notice that it restricts your breath a little bit, the pose. That's okay, you're just giving yourself more space to expand the lungs. Pressing into the rib cage to open up all those little muscles between the ribs. Good. We're going to walk the legs back to center and the upper body back to center. Straight line. Stretch from fingertips to toe tips, reaching. Good. And then we're going to just walk the upper body over to the left as far as you comfortably can. Feel that out before we move the legs. Maybe move the legs over. Maybe cross the ankles. It feels good. Get into the rib cage. Bring the legs back to center. And then the upper body back to center, stretching all the way. Now we're maybe an inch taller. And the arms down by your sides. Bend into the knees. Do one more little stretch. Now take your right leg, cross it all the way over your left leg. All the way. Squeeze the legs together a little bit. And then we're going to hug both knees into your chest. So you could just grab onto that top knee and just stay here. If you can reach your feet, grab onto the feet. So it's just this cow face pose or shoestring pose on your back. Good. Let's release. Set one foot down and then the other. Let's cross the other leg over the top, all the way. Hug both knees in. Good. You can grab the feet if you can reach them. Couple more breaths. Release one foot down and then the other. Let's just hug the knees in one more time. Just rocking maybe. And we're just going to slowly release the feet down, straightening into the legs, letting the arms come down by your sides. Let your breath deepen. Attention back into the moment. Bring movement into your fingers and toes. Bend into the knees. Roll onto one side of your body and just rest. Press up to seated position. Hands on the knees. So rotate the shoulders a couple of times. And then just soften them down. Soften them a little more. The highest light in me salutes and appreciates the highest light in each of you. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me today. Namaste.